So my name's Mark Brown. I'm a director here at the Office of Digital Learning, and I'm basically partnering with Dave and Rajesh to build this prototype experiment of ClimateX, which we're running for 8 weeks here, and that's my role.
I'm Rajesh Kasturirangan, one of the co-founders of ClimateX, and delighted to be partnering with Mark and Curt and others at the Office of Digital Learning. I'm also an MIT alum, so.
My name's Curt Newton. I'm a colleague of Mark's here at the Office of Digital Learning. Specifically, I've worked on the OpenCourseware project since about 2004 and got very engaged in climate change activities here on campus a couple of years ago. That led me to make contact with Rajesh as the ClimateX proposal was making its way through the CoLab. And, you know, short answer, I'm really happy to be contributing, trying to get this project running.
Big Bang Theory style introduction. Like 15 billion years ago, the universe started, and then stuff happened that 2 years ago. And Dave and I met at a common friend's house, and we hit it off. We found out that we're both MIT alums and concerned about climate actions. So we said, let's form something which brings the MIT alums to MIT's climate action plan. And so from that was born what became and still remains MIDACAL, the MIT alumni for climate action leadership. And about a year ago, we heard about President Reif's climate action plan and the Climate CoLab contest that came out of it. And MIDACAL submitted 4 proposals to the Climate CoLab, of which 2 made it to the semifinals. One was a platform for climate learning, which was called ClimateX, and another which we were calling a green career portal. And in the next round, we said we're just combining the 2. So the proposal for ClimateX became the combination of peer-to-peer learning and green careers, which will bring MIT alums and students and the rest of the community together. And that won the Climate CoLab contest, which allowed us to then bug a lot of people and say, we're here and we need your attention. So that attracted a little bit of attention. And we got connected to Sanjay Sarma, who is the VP of Open Learning here at MIT now, and also the head of the Office of Digital Learning, who in turn connected us to Mark. And the rest, as they say, is history. So.
I think, to kind of complete the story that you started as you talked about ClimateX and it's winning the award for the Climate CoLab and how we got introduced through Sanjay. Here at ODL, we were interested in finding ways to build more meaningful forms of engagement between the MIT community and all the people who are, all the learners, as we call them, who through programs like OCW that Curt's involved with, or MITx, who are taking courses and learning through our digital learning platform. We felt that that what we've done is great, but we wanted to build more community. And so the pairing that you came with of MIT alumni who wanted to get engaged around climate action, and pairing that up with all the digital learners all around the world who might also want to participate in that kind of activity, that felt like a kind of match made in heaven. And we wanted to do everything we could to promote that. So that, hence the partnership where we said, okay, great. If you supply the learners and the audience, we can start experimenting with different platforms and techniques to start building stronger community. And so that's I think what really led to where we are today. What we discovered as we were doing research before we met you, in particular with an entrepreneurship audience who was engaged through various MITx courses. What we discovered is, after talking with them, that there were kind of 2 missing pieces for them. The first was that they didn't have a really strong sense of community as they were taking the course. And that was basically a result of the platform, which allowed discussion to occur through a discussion forum tools on the edX platform. But they didn't really have a strong sense of who these people were, and there weren't forums really to talk about themselves and to get to know each other and make connections. So that was kind of missing piece number one. Missing piece number two was the course was over and they wanted to do more with what they had learned. And in a way, they wanted to apply what they learned to some more concrete, real life solutions. And so those two gaps represented what we thought some type of community platform could address. And that is kind of what we're hoping ClimateX will help do is we take this combination of webinars, and maybe people took Professor Emmanuel's global warming course on MITx. That represents a foundation for learning. And then we start adding community and then using Climate CoLab as a challenge platform. We start kind of laddering up to address this feeling of, I wish I could connect with somebody and I wish I could be doing more with what I learned.
I think what Mark, you've laid out frames the big picture. There are like, I just noted three other kind of more specific instances within that are, I think, of particular interest. One of them is that, for instance, OpenCourseWare has had this experience with trying to create study groups or community groups, and also MOOC suppliers such as MITx and edX have learned when they put a course up that's just purely self-paced, the asynchronous nature creates a situation where it's hard to have, like a cohort of people going through. It's just too diffuse. And so one of the things that I'm hoping we get some more experience with through this process is by bringing people together, at least at a specific start point. It can fan out into a number of different topics, simultaneously, but at least giving people a defined start point, we might learn some interesting things about how to more effectively create learning communities that are less sort of strict. It's a course, start now, end at the end. I'm tempted to, say that one of the things that we might somewhat uniquely offer the world is the ability to couple a learning basis, an educational basis, in with the idea generation about actions. Since we are coming from a respected learning institution, that's a thing that hopefully, with all of our momentum behind online learning, that's a place that we're particularly well positioned to go after. Certainly, that's a personal hope of mine.
Yeah.
The other big problem that really stands out to me is this thing that comes up when you harness thousands and thousands of people brainstorming, and you get thousands and thousands of small ideas with one or two people working on them. I think there's a challenge in kind of funneling stuff to what ultimately is a relatively smaller number of things that you get a lot of people getting on board about. And it's really when you get a lot of people getting on board that I think the real big changes that we need and are really hoping for can start to happen.
And I think that it's a doable aspiration, and was one of the reasons why we put the ClimateX proposal together, right? Which is to funnel that actually, and David and I have talked about it in the past, which is that climate action is a little different from other potentially, equally, say, politically intense topics, in that there is a substantial knowledge or learning basis to what we need to do, right? I mean, that it's not just coin tossing. I mean, there's an actual science that is grounding what we want to do. And so if we can go from science to action and we can provide the easiest path to make that happen, that would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, I'm wondering, do we want to, I'm feeling like we might be able to call this a wrap?
Yep.
Cool.